Good morning, everybody. This is Stephen Pugh of the Home Bible College. I want to give an introduction to the third year students to the studies that we're looking at in January. So in January, like we do each month, is we look at three subjects. In January, we're going to look at a man of God, we're going to look at a biblical subject, and we're going to look at a Christian character of history. Now, perhaps I could recount some of these and give an outline for the whole year, first of all. In each month, we'll look at each one of these things. It's quite different to the first and second year. In the first and second year, we were either just going through the Bible, the New Testament, or the Old Testament. Now we're switching. We're still looking after the first and second year students, but as well as that, we're building on top of that and focusing our attention on some of the larger subjects of the Bible. So each month we'll be looking at a biblical character. So, for example, in January we'll look at Abraham, and then in February we'll look at Joseph. In fact, we'll look at a number of characters. We'll look at Moses, we'll look at Ruth and Esther, we'll look at Elijah, David, Daniel, John the Baptist, Mary, Peter, Paul, and Timothy. So these are all the biblical characters that we'll be studying each month. And then, of course, each month there will be a subject. There'll be a subject that we will tackle. So in January we'll tackle the subject of God. This is what you call theology proper. It's the study of God himself. In February we'll look at creation and the fall. In March we'll look at inspiration, the inspiration of the scriptures. Then we'll look at the person of Christ, the work of Christ, the Holy Spirit, salvation, evangelism, the Christian life, error and heresy, the future, and the church. So these are all the subjects that we'll look at through the whole year. The purpose is to get a bit of a grounding in the basics of Christian truth. These are the major subjects of the Bible. And then lastly, each month we'll be looking at a Christian of history. So we're beginning in January with David Livingstone. In February we'll look at George Muller. In March we'll look at Isabel Kuhn. In April we'll look at John Bunyan. Then each month we'll then look at Harold St. John. We'll look at Gladys Aylward, David Brainerd, C.H. Spurgeon, John Wesley, Hudson Taylor, John Wycliffe, and Charles Finney. So let's come back to this month. So this month, January, we're going to look first of all at Abraham. We're going to unpick his life. We're going to be reading. Now, in all of these studies, we do a lot of reading. It's not just the Bible we read. We might be reading books about the various characters. So we'll be doing a lot of reading. So some days it may just say, read this passage or read that passage or whatever. But that's okay, because this is where we're helping you to become a little bit more self-motivated, a little bit self-guided in these studies. And we do a lot of reading, and then I will ask a series of questions. If you were writing down all the answers to these questions, you would effectively be writing a complete thesis on the person of Abraham in January. The second one is God. We're going to be looking at God. We're going to be looking at his person. We're going to be looking at all of his attributes, his character, the way in which he acts, the way in which he works, the way in which he speaks. That's the subject of God. And then we're going to look at this wonderful character, David Livingstone. This was a man who was a godly Scot, who opened up the whole of Africa to the gospel. He was an adventurer. He was a missionary. He was a translator. He was a doctor. He was an explorer. A man of immense courage, a man of immense wisdom, and somebody that we can spend time in his company. And as we spend time in his company, there is just so much that we can learn from a godly man like this. So that's January. Looking forward to the adventure with you. Looking forward to all of your questions and all of your thoughts on the subject. Come to the Facebook page each day or each week if you wish, and just come with questions, or come and tell us about some of the wonderful things that God is showing you and the wonderful things that you're learning in these studies, and look forward to catching up with you at the end. Those of you that are registered students, you're welcome to submit your notes. I do find those such a pleasure to read. It's wonderful to see people growing and developing in their knowledge of the Lord. We'll look forward to hearing from you. Have a great day. Bye for now.